Good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. Here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Welcome around 32 or 35 in the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series season. Tonight, we take you to Bristol Motor Speedway for the Bristol Dash, the fourth last round of the championship. And what a championship it has been. The business end of the season, the next 4 Saturday nights, the first 4 of October. Lock the dial right here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting because we are heading towards the end of the season and the checkered flag. The champion to be crowned in 3 weeks' time, but we've got a bit of business to get through. Before we get to that, of course, tomorrow, NRL Grand Final weekend. Tonight, all the focus on Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Cabin alongside Mark Johansen and, of course, the great man JP himself. Welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway, the virtual version. The Bristol Dash is upon us. And Mark Johansen, nice to have you on board, mate. It's been a couple of weeks since we've got together for the Weekend Warriors, and it's been a long time since I've been in the booth on a Saturday night with you guys. It's nice to be back. Just bring us up to date with where we are with 4 rounds to go, mate.
Yeah, well, this week's the last of the short track races, so we won't have a big turnout. There's a few other things that people have got some freedom, so they're out and about, which is all good. And then next week on the round 2 of the Triple Crown, and then we go to Michigan for round 34, and then the big one, the SimShed 500 at the end of the season. And I can tell you that's going to be a cracker, Zach.
It is going to be an absolute rip snorter, no doubt about that. October 23 from the usual time, 7:20 p.m. But that will be, and I'll say this once and once only tonight, it'll be Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. So this is your first and only reminder that tomorrow morning the clocks go forward in the progressive civilised parts of the country. We get left behind up here in Queensland, but that's nothing new. And therefore everything for Queensland, the Northern Territory, and also Western Australia will be an hour earlier than usual from next week. Same applies to the RSRA Super Series and Super 2 Series as well. JP, welcome into you. You get to share the booth with me and Mark tonight. Only 16 cars that's showing here on the server at the moment as the boys complete the practice session. 16 cars on a little bull ring like Bristol, that's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And good evening, Zach. Good evening, Mark. And good evening, all the viewers around Australia and all around the world watching us this evening. Should be a great race tonight.
It should be indeed. All right. We've got a little bit of time to kill here before the race gets underway. So let's get stuck into the championship points and bring you up to speed with where things are at this point in time in the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series. Of course, as I say, 4 rounds to go. Last time I was here, the bloke by the name of Darren McKenzie had one hand on the championship. He was the man to beat. And I know it's been a couple of weeks since we were on air. Nothing's changed. Have a look at that. 166 points, I'm going to call that. I think I'm right. Over Paul Jackson, Dylan Davies, of course, sitting there in third. Scott McClintock is fourth. Josh Carroll Walton is fifth. JCW not on the grid tonight. Stephen Williams, Ruben Phelps, Adam Ariel, Harry Neal, and Tristan Kosh making up the top 10 there. And the simple reality of it is, as we go over the page, there's your good self in 11th, Mark, just ahead of Jamie Nankerbus, David Duran, Mark Smith, and Aidan Schultz, of course. Spencer Patton, Gallagher, Legg, and Drady make up the top 20. The simple reality is that Mackenzie's consistency and the fact that he's turned up more weeks than everybody else have served him really well in a championship where every race counts, and not everyone can be available 35 Saturday nights of the year.
No, definitely not. And it's a show of dedication to him to be here every round. So yeah, it's been a great season for him.
Indeed, it has. Who else has impressed you so far, mate? Because obviously there have been so many different race winners along the way. I was here when you grabbed your win at Talladega. We've had so many close finishes. We've had a couple of dull nights as well along the way. But you appreciate the dull ones when the good ones come along. There's no doubt about that. Who's impressed you? Who's surprised you? And who's maybe disappointed along the way this year?
Well, disappointing is myself. I got mixed up in a lot of stuff early in the season.
No.
But that happens. It's motorsport. The person that's really impressed me is the guy that took my spot in the team, and that's Jamie Nankerbus. He's the leading rookie of the year. He only started sim racing late last year, so he's done really well to be where he is in the championship.
Indeed, he has. On screen there at the moment is the 041 of Andrew Dyson. For those of you that are in and out a bit like me with regards to the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series, there will be a couple of names that may be new to you tonight. Good to see my mate from the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Peter Matson, out on circuit as well, sitting there in 14th in this this practice session, I should say, qualifying not too far away. On that note, we should probably have a look at the race notes before we go any further and remind you of exactly where we're going tonight and how we're doing it. There it is. It's the little Coliseum, the bull ring is Bristol. The Bristol Dash, round 32 or 35. Race start 18:35 local time. That is, of course, sim server time. And that's, if I'm right in saying, it's the Central Daylight Time that they run off in that part of the world. So it's 19:35 American Eastern. And therefore tomorrow morning sometime 9:35 Queensland, 10:35 New South Wales. But anyway, less said about that, the better. Air temp is 20 degrees, track temp very warm, 45. That's a little bit surprising, but I'll get Mark's thoughts on that in just a moment. Wind speed 11 kilometres an hour, southeasterly direction. 4 sets of tyres available to these guys tonight. The fuel burn very small, about just under 0.4 of a litre per lap. There should be 3 pit stops tonight as they burn that 70.7 litre tank. This circuit, only 0.85 of a kilometre, or 0.86 if you want to round it up. 233 laps, 199.9 kilometres. So we're just falling short of the 200 and 56 kilometres an hour along pit lane. And pit lane's an interesting one here, Mark. Let's tear through some facts and stats here. Just to leave that up on the screen for us, JP, so that everybody can have a good read of that for themselves at home. Mark, when you look at Bristol, 2 pit lanes, essentially.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a unique track in that sense. I'm pretty sure it's the only track, apart from some of the real small ones that the NASCAR don't go to anymore, that have 2 pit lanes. And I've been here with Tony Stewart, and I've seen some fair income good crashes with guys trying to get into the pits as guys are trying to get out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing too. Remember, if you were watching the Super 2E series the other night, ladies and gentlemen, you'll remember that the Super Series. There was a crash in pit lane in the Super Series the other night on Tuesday. So if you remember that, if there's a crash in pit lane, cautions are automatically generated within the iRacing server in Weekend Warriors. So don't be surprised if we see a few cautions tonight. That's going to be one factor, Mark. But let's talk about that track temperature, because that's fairly warm.
Yeah, it's starting to drop now. So, and we go under light shortly. So the temp will drop here very quick with it being cement. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be hard on tyres if you push on entry into the turns. You've really got to back off and let it roll around to about mid-track, then get slowly back on the gas and get on it again.
Now, let's talk about tyre wear, mate. How's the tyre wear going to be here tonight? Because I feel as though that's going to be the determining factor with how many pit stops you guys do tonight. Because when I crunch the numbers and take the 70.7 litre fuel restriction and divide that by the 0.398 litres per lap fuel burn, I get 177 laps to the tank. So am I to assume that tyre wear is going to be the factor tonight?
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be an issue with fuel. In midweek testing, some of the guys have done, they're saying between 50 and 68 laps on a set of tyres. But Mr. Foster seems to think you can get a lot more out of there if you look after him. And we know he's very good at looking after his tyres. So that's going to be a big one tonight.
And it seems to be it's going to be a case of buying yourself a ticket to that last stint at the checkered flag. We know late race cautions on these shorter tracks are common.
Oh, most definitely. You just got to bide your time here. I'm just hoping to roll around and stay out of trouble. And
Now, the other thing as well, oh, geez, it's on. It's on early. Now, the interesting thing is when you look at the Bristol Dash, ladies and gentlemen, on paper, this could be a race that lasts just over an hour. The times out there on circuit are somewhere around that 14 to 15-second mark, maybe 16 when you get onto the used tyres. So if you look at that, 240 goes in, sorry, 4 goes into 60, 240. So 4 laps a minute and 60 minutes to an hour, 240 laps. But once you take pit stops and cautions into play, that number will blow out. But essentially, this is a dash tonight. It'll be a rip snorter. It'll be nice and fast, and it'll be quite fun to watch it unfold here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. We will do it live and commercial free. And when we crank up the volume, it won't be just for one lap, because what would be the point of that for 15 seconds? We'll let you have a good listen to these cars hard at work around here. And Mark, to be fair, different gearing, different ratios, all that to Daytona and Talladega, but full throttle is full throttle at the end of the day.
oh, damn right it is. Yeah, this is a tricky track. Like,
Just we've lost you there for a moment there, Mark. But in the meantime, I'll come back to you in just a second. But in the meantime, can we just take a moment to say hello to Steve Hoppett, who's tuning in tonight, and also hello to anyone else that's tuning in. Make sure you interact with us on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting via Facebook. There, feel free to leave a comment, leave a like, let us know what you're enjoying about the spectacle. Let us know who your tip is for the NRL Grand Final tomorrow. Now, qualifying underway here, so it won't take long for that to unfold, and then we'll get lined up for the race. And I know Mark will be out there to settle that very momentarily, so therefore it'll be a case of checking in with him after this session. We'll let him concentrate on that for the meantime. Or in the meantime, I should say, if I can speak English properly. I just want to go left field for a moment, right of screen here in my office. And let you know that the women's test is heading towards a rather depressing draw at this point in time. I think it's right in saying India in their first innings, they declared, actually. They put 360, 370 odd runs on the board. Australia in response 2 for 69, but the equivalent of a day's play essentially has been lost in that match due to rain. Earlier this evening as well, Australia getting a win over Argentina in the Rugby Championship. So 4 wins on the trot for the Wallabies in the Rugby Championship. And depending upon the result in the New Zealand-South Africa game, it could be good enough for second in the tournament. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But well done to the Wallabies on an impressive campaign, with the exception of the test matches against New Zealand, because New Zealand just tore us off the park. Big weekend this weekend, of course, with the NRL Grand Final. And, of course, on Monday morning, NASCAR Cup racing comes from Talladega, and MotoGP from Circuit of the Americas. So the real world stuff hotting up just as much as the sim world stuff is at the moment. Time's coming in on your screen there. We're actually able to bring you qualifying. There's 3 minutes left in this qualifying session, so we'll keep an eye on that. These guys will be limited to how many laps they can run. That's usually the way in line qualifying. And at the moment, Edward Foster has the best of the times here, a 14.52, playing Stephen Williams 14.55. Andrew Dyson and Dave Douglas, good to see him on the grid, and Paul Brady as well. Have a look at this, folks. 14.71 for Dyson, 14.72 for both Douglas and Brady. So they're only separated by thousandths of a second, not hundredths. And Matt Hunter in 6th place, 14.73. Jared Farrell, that's a name that's familiar to me from the old karting days, actually. I'll be interested to see if it's the same one. 14.74. Paul Jackson, 14.75. Darren McKenzie, 14.82. But we know McKenzie, he doesn't necessarily have to be fast in qualifying to be on song at the end of the night. He usually has a way of just easing into it and hitting his straps at the right time. Our mate Aidan Schultz is down there in 13th, just behind Pete Matson. We've got a field of 17 getting ready to line up here. Scott McClintock at the back of the field at the moment with a 17.47. So qualifying about to come to an end here with A minute 39 left on the clock. Just checking in with you, Mark Johansson. You've slotted yourself into 15th there.
Yeah, 15th. I made a few little boo-boos in the turn one on the first lap, and then touched the wall. I think it was on turn 3. So it's 100% concentration around here all the time. There's no rest.
Just watching Dylan Davies on screen at the moment. He's opting to sit on the high line. Will we see a mix of high line, low line stuff tonight?
If we can get some rubber down low, I probably what they call a bottom feeder. I'll get down and run around the low line, but the fastest way around here is against that wall. I don't know if JP can pick it up. Coming out of turn 2 and out of turn 4, you can see all the rubber up against the wall, so you definitely don't want to get your right front up into that. So yeah, it's a tricky little place.
Indeed, and also we should point out as well, overtaking around here, it is a little coliseum. Obviously, you don't have 40 like we would in a cup race in the real world, but that being said, oh, geez, almost. Was that Dylan Davies scraping the wall? It was, wasn't it? Jeez, that's commitment. That is, I mean, he's already finished recording his lap times. He won't get another one, I don't think. So the session is coming to an end. It is done. Just as they line up on the grid here, Mark, talk us through overtaking. How difficult is it going to be if you've had a bad qualifying, as you openly admitted you did? How difficult is it going to be to try and weave your way through the field here?
It's not too bad. You've really just got to pick your line and pick your time to get around people. A lot of the fast guys will sit up top. You may find for a little while it's a railway track,
Yes.
but there definitely will be some passing opportunities.
All right, looking forward to seeing how it plays out tonight. Good luck to you. Good luck, everybody. As we get set for round 32 of the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series. Just have a look at some of these margins when we have a look at the grid here, folks, because dead set. It's a game of inches sometimes. There's no doubt about that. I mean, for instance, the top 12 down to Pete Matson separated by excuse me, 0.475. Front row will be Edward Foster and Stephen Williams. The second row will be Andrew Dyson and Dave Douglas. The third row will be Paul Drady and Matt Hunter. The fourth row, Jared Farrowell and Paul Jackson. The fifth row, Darren McKenzie and Dylan Davies. The sixth row will be, of course, Gary Wellman and Peter Matson. The seventh row will be Aidan Schultz and Adam Ariel. The eighth row, Mark Johansen and Jamie Nankerbus. The ninth row, Scott McClintock. And we're looking forward to seeing how this race plays out. JP, have you got a tip for me?
I don't think it's way too early in the race to be tipping anyone.
No.
I'm going to say watch out for Ed Foster, Steve Williams, and Darren McKenzie.
JP's one of those people that's very glad that they now take live betting in match, ladies and gentlemen, because it's too early to be putting your money anywhere, according to him. Whereas most people back in the day had to put their money where their mouth was at lap 0. We'll wait and see how it all plays out. Of course, being a short track, more than one lap behind the caution and the roll-ups here. And then we'll get stuck into round 32 of the season. Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing, the Bristol Dash, as we say. Less than 90 minutes worth of racing coming away, ladies and gentlemen, but these laps will fly by. It'll all happen very quickly once we get going.
I'll give you my tip, Zach. My money's on Daiso or Ed.
All right. Dyson from 4th or Foster from pole, whichever the case may be. We'll wait and see how it plays out, mate. Good luck to you. We'll check in throughout the course of the evening here. And the big question is, where will this first caution be? Onto the main straight we go. The lights will go to red when they go out. Barney will be waving the green flag and we'll go racing. Underway for the Bristol Dash. Some low line running early on. Foster moves up and defends on Williams into turn 3 and 4 for the first time. Oh, let's be honest, it's 1 and 2. let's simplify it for the sake of the Australian audience, ladies and gentlemen. They're not turning the car twice through those corners. So we've got a lot of time up our sleeve tonight. I don't think we'll need all of it. Lap 2 of 233 now becomes lap 3. See, I told you they'll go quick. Edward Foster, Stephen Williams, fastest lap of the race. Dyson, Douglas, Hunter, Ben Drady. They're sorting themselves out early. Good moving early on in this race from Aidan Schultz, already up to 10th. And Paul Drady up into 6th, trying to find his way back to where he started, which was 5th. He's got Matt Hunter to contend with in front of him, Jared Farrowell behind him, and then, of course, he's actually let Farrowell go there on the inside, Drady. So Farrowell down on the inside. He hasn't got the job done yet, but now he will try and cement that on the inside whilst Drady opts to run up on the high line, 2 by 2 in some parts here. And they're working in tandem, some of these guys at the moment. Foster, Williams, Dyson, Douglas around the outside. Try and find a way past Dyson there. Oh, it's hot and hard early here. Foster, Williams, Douglas, Dyson, Hunter, Farrowell, Drady, Jackson and Schultz, the top 9. Wellman makes up the top 10 at the moment. The entire leaderboard is orange, essentially, ladies and gentlemen, which means every car is within half a second of the car in front. That's the sort of racing we like on a Saturday night. That's what Bristol provides. That's what Daytona will provide in 3 weeks' time as well. We're already on to the end of lap 8. On to 9 we go. You're on board with Dyson. We go back to the front. How good's that shot for you? Looking around the Bristol Motor Speedway, packed to capacity on a Saturday night, and so it should be. Foster, Williams, Douglas, Dyson, Hunter, Farrowell. Then Drady and Schultz. Trouble at the back. Mark Johansson in trouble early here. Is that going to trigger a caution? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is now. It took a while to trigger the caution, but here's the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay for you, folks. This is what happened. And we'll check in with Mark in just a moment. Oh, geez, he got cleaned up. He got absolutely served. The car in front of him hit the wall. Swipe down left, and Johansson was there with nowhere to go. Geez, that's unlucky, mate. Unbelievable. So we've got our first caution. We didn't get to lap 10. We have our first caution. Dylan Davies in pit lane as well from 12th position. And to be fair, JP, I wouldn't think any of these guys are looking at tyres just yet.
Yeah, no, I think way too early to be thinking about tyres when you've got only 4 tyres in hand. And, yeah, guys are going to be trying to keep onto those for as long as they can.
Oh, boy. Our first caution of the night. Dylan Davies, Mark Johansson in pit lane. So is that Davies' admission that he was the other car caught up in that? I didn't catch it. So, judging by the cars that I'm seeing on screen there, it would seem as though that is the case. Oh, that's unlucky for Mark Johansson. He wants to, like everybody in this field, get to that 50% mark, which tonight is lap 117, ladies and gentlemen. If they get to 117 laps completed, Pete Matson in the pit lane. Oh, it was Matson. It was Matson. If we have a look at that replay again, I'm sure that it was Matson's car that slid down and smashed into Johansson there. And that's unlucky for both of them. We've got Mark back in the booth. We'll get to him in a moment. Here's a replay again for you, thanks to simsnap.com iRacing photography. Yeah, Pete Matson's. It wasn't Dylan Davies, it was Pete. Wooshgar grabs the wall. Oh, what a crunch. And that's so unfortunate for you, Mark. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, that's my race done. 10 minutes of repair. So, yeah, again, mixed up in someone else's little miss-up. But yeah, I just heard that he got into the wall, and so that happens. And yeah, wrong spot.
And of course, when you say race done, I mean, that's in terms of potentially fighting for a win. You can still get back out there, get to that 50% mark and get some championship points.
Oh, I'll definitely get back out and get the 50%, and just depends how much damage is done to the car. I'm sitting in the car now. I can see the right-hand corner or creased up, so just depends if I can get my steering back and without burning out tyres, and yeah, like the crew will change a set of tyres here, and I'll be down on a set of tyres where I wanted to try and make them last to about 60 laps.
Yep. A lap 15 for you, folks. Lights out on the caution car. The pace car, it should come back to pit lane this time by. We will get back to green here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Saturday night Cup car racing for you. The Weekend Warriors, round 32, the Bristol Dash. And, I tell you what, Dave Douglas and Andrew Dyson are getting a little bit close for comfort there on the tail of Edward Foster and Stephen Williams. We're back underway. A great restart down there on the low line from Douglas. Tried to get down on the inside of Williams, wasn't able to do so. Now he'll force the issue. Going through 4. Gotcha.
I don't think that low line's going to come in until about probably lap 50 or 60. That's where you'll see that low line start to get working really well.
I'll tell you what, Douglas is trying to make it work for him right now, though, Mark, and that's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out for the rest of the night. Now Williams cements it around the outside, but look at the logjam of traffic in behind him. Oh, it could be like this all night, folks. Strap yourself in for the ride and hold on. Now they come onto the main straight. Foster, Williams, Douglas, Dyson, Schultz, Wellman, Farrell, Jackson, Hunter, and McKenzie. And the trick is, if you can stay with the guys in front, stay on the lead lap, it's anyone's game come that final stint, that run to the checkered flag tonight. Have a look at this now. Williams making a move for the lead on Foster. Williams down on the inside. Williams going for the lead. Not yet. Foster hanging tough around the outside, as Mark Johansson just said. Watch the low line come into play a little bit later on, and now Williams is all of a sudden the sitting duck. There goes Davis. There goes Dyson. Straight on by. Might take Schultz with him. Does. Hey, Schultz, he's having a great run up. 9 spots already into 4th.
Yeah, Schultz seems to like these shorter tracks for some reason. I don't know why, but he seems to go well.
Certainly does. It'll be interesting to see if he can convert it into a race win tonight. Again, the key is going to be staying out of trouble. As Mark has already found out tonight, as you've already seen, it's easy to find your way into somebody else's garbage here. That's not what you want to see, JP.
No, not at all. It's a long race, a lot of laps. They want to keep it clean for as long as possible.
I'm going to ask JP if he can jump onto that right front guard camera that they've got on these things, just to show people at home how close they actually do get to the wall.
Actually, that's a good point. Let's have a look at that if we can, because by G, they run it tight. A bit like running down through the S's into the dipper. Hunter, Douglas, Schultz, Wellman, Dyson, Farrell, Williams, and Jackson, the top 8 at the moment. So Schultz up into 3rd. Douglas and Foster continue to swap around at the front. Douglas now leading for the first time tonight. And now Fisher displaces him. And now Douglas displaces him again. He's Schultz all over the back as well, looking for a way through. I wouldn't recommend 3 wide around this circuit, Mark.
Oh, no, definitely not. Yeah, you've got to be a brave man to go 3 wide here. Although saying that, in the real world, I have seen it happen, but it hasn't come off very pretty.
Although that being said, sliding across the finish line 2x2 looked pretty cool a couple of weeks back in the real world. 29 of 233. So just like that, folks, I mean, we've been racing, 10 minutes, if that? We already have 30 laps in the book at the end of this one that we're circulating right now. 17 cars in the race tonight. Johansson already in trouble in pit lane, but he will get back out there, and as long as he can get to lap 117, or any driver for that matter can get to 117, they will get classified as a finisher tonight. Normally, stipulations would suggest that it's 75% where you get classified. And that's certainly the case in the Super Series and the Super 2E Series that we bring you here every Tuesday and Wednesday night. But for the Cup cars, as you know, being NASCAR fans, 50% constitutes a race in the real world in the event of rain. So 50% constitutes classification here in the sim world as well. Mark, it's been a stellar season. It's hard to believe we've only got this and 3 more to go.
Mate, I can't believe how quick it's actually gone. Like, you go back to our first major race, like the Anzac Cup. It just seemed like yesterday, and then the Memorial Cup. So it's been a great season. A lot of drivers come through and had a turn with us. You know, we've got a good core of drivers now, and we've got some big things coming next year.
Indeed we do, and looking forward to next year already. But what are you guys going to do with 4 months off?
We're going to run a truck series, a mini series for starting the week after Daytona. We're straight back into the trucks, and that'll take us up to Christmas. Then we'll have Christmas off and let everyone enjoy some time with families. And then start of January, we do some recruitment races, and then the 26th, I think it was by memory, we're back in the season 22.
Looking forward to it immensely. So, yeah, make sure you come back and join us then, ladies and gentlemen. 37 to 233. Already on pit lane. Pete Matson's been in there and is in again. McClintock has gone. Actually, McClintock's just gone by the look of that. I think Scott McClintock might be out of the race. That's certainly the vibe I'm getting, judging by the timing, and it hasn't moved.
I'll just go see if I can find out.
Copy that. Thanks, Mark. Pete Matson back in pit lane second time tonight. 2 laps down now. Johansson 30 laps down. And it's a long way back from there. But as we said, he's only looking to be classified tonight at best. It's going to be 16th now with McClintock having his troubles. At worst, 3 wide. Oh, geez, that was tight. At worst, it's going to be 17th. Mark Johansson. 41 of 233. And we're trying to go 3 wide. Are you kidding me? That's madness. This early on. That was the 0-2 of Darren McKenzie, the championship leader. Under pressure from Paul Drady and also Jared Farrowell. Mark's got some news for us.
Yeah, it looks like he's had a computer issue. So let's hope he can rejoin, because he's sitting 4th in the championship, or 5th in the championship. So he definitely wants to pick up some points tonight if he can.
Yeah, just with regards to the championship, can Darren McKenzie be beaten from here, by the way?
It is a possibility, but highly unlikely.
Copy that. Thought as much.
Because we've got 2 double point rounds with the Triple Crown. So the only one that'll be able to catch him is Paul. So Paul needs to win those 2 double point rounds, and Darren's either got to not finish one of them or have a really, really bad race.
46 to 233. It'll be interesting to see if the pressure gets Darren McKenzie in the next couple of weeks, but I wouldn't assume so. He's been superb all season. There's Matt Hunter on screen at the moment. Just ahead of him is Paul Grady, who we were just talking about. Darren McKenzie, Stevie Williams as well. Gary Wellman. And they're all arguing over the same piece of real estate. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And Aiden Schultz has slipped back down the order. That's one thing we have missed. He was 3rd. He's now slipped back down to 10th position. Now, has he scraped the wall? Has he got a little bit of damage? Is he struggling a little bit? We'll wait and see on that. Already, yeah, it's been a pretty clean race thus far, no doubt about that. But it looks like we've lost Pete Matson as well, Mark. So if you can get yourself back out there and get to 50%, you'll beat 2 of them. You'll beat Pete Matson and Scott McClintock. It looks like my mate Pistol Pete has withdrawn after 36 laps. As the field circulates lap 50 now.
Now on the big challenge here is Dylan needs to catch up and get in front of Paul, close that point gap between second and third. So that's the real challenge for the rest of the season, I'd say.
Indeed. All right. Things starting to settle into a rhythm here. The car at the back of that queue is Paul Jackson, I think I'm right in saying, in the orange car. Is that right? All right, let's jump on board with him if we can, JP, because this will give everybody at home a good view of just how tight this circuit is and how much traffic there is in what is only 14 cars on the circuit at the moment. Let's ride on board with Paul Jackson. Let's crank up the volume for the first time tonight. Caution number 2 of the night, just as we settled into a rhythm and we were enjoying the sounds of the stock cars at work here. Adam Ariel has crunched the wall and triggered our second caution of the night. This is how he did it. Coming on to the main straight, and he also got caught up with one of the Mobil 1 cars.
Jamie
Nankerbus in 13th position there. So Ariel's crunched the wall. He's got back going. And this is the time where Dave Douglas and Edward Foster and Matthew Dyson and Matt Hunter and Paul Drady have all said, and Aidan Schultz as well. In fact, don't worry about just running through names. They're all in. They're all bloody in. The top 7 and also Drady, Schultz in the lane right now. This is the time that they're opting to take that second set of tyres, I would assume, at this point in time, Mark, because as we've said all along, they're okay on fuel for about 180 laps here. So it's a case of coming in, throwing some fresh rubber at it, going again.
Yeah, definitely.
An awesome performance from Dave Douglas as well to get out of that pit lane in one piece. Jared Farrell will yet to stop. Gary Wellman just coming in now. So Wellman's probably going to end up doing himself a disservice there by not jumping when everybody else did. He zagged when everyone else zigged. But we'll wait and see how it balances out. We're under caution for the second time tonight. Adam Ariel has crunched the wall. But the good news out of all of that, see, this is the thing. People like me who watch circuit racing get frustrated by watching stock car racing, Mark, because they're so quick to throw the bloody yellow. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't a big yellow because, A, 2 cars were involved, but 2 cars drove away.
Yeah, definitely.
However, on a circuit this small, you can understand why they throw the yellow so quickly.
Yeah, if on the bigger tracks, you got that the apron there where if guys you've seen it in the past where guys are spun to the infield and there's been no yellow. So
hang on, what's going on here? Dylan Davies is back in the pit lane. This is his second stop in this sequence, in this caution period. So Dylan Davies is going to throw himself down towards the back end of the order with an unscheduled, I'm going to assume, unscheduled pit stop on lap 60. That seems strange to me, Mark.
Yeah, I think he may have got Scott and he may have touched on that last restart, so he may be carrying some damage.
It's so difficult if you drop a lap around here to get it back, given how quickly the laps go. And I mean, you can get lucky with the wave arounds and whatnot, but you don't want to go a lap down if you can help it.
Nah, look, here, as soon as you go a lap down, your race is done, or basically. Or once you go 2 or 3 laps down, the race is done. I'll just come back out and I'll just circulate to get points, and then when I've done my 116 laps, I'll come join you guys permanently in the box there.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing now. You're in that situation where, because you just need to get to that number, you're back out on the track now, and that's good to see, by the way. You're in that position where you just need to get to 50%. You don't need to run the whole race now. If you were in the race and, heaven forbid you threw it away, different story. But now you can just park it once you get classified, because you know that the best you're going to be able to do tonight is about 15th, 14th, depending upon future retirements. Back underway in Bristol. You would have seen the green flag fly there a few seconds ago. Leader is Dave Douglas from Edward Foster. Andrew Dyson is third. Darren McKenzie is fourth. And Jared Farrell is in pit lane right now as well. And just breaking in for a live score update, the Australians are 3 for 80 at Metricon Stadium on the Gold Coast in the women's test match against India. So they're struggling a little bit with the bat here with the pink ball, the girls. But we'll update you more on that as the night goes on. Lap 64 here. Fastest lap of the night for Edward Foster, 14.78. Very nicely done. Couldn't be surprised by that. Foster, Douglas, Dyson. We've got trouble at the back. Dylan Davies is in trouble. He's jumped in the pits, and this is the third time. The Farrell's in the pit lane again. Davies is in the pit lane again. It's all going to hell for these guys, unfortunately. Let's have a look at this. He's just coming on his own accord. Jeez. Yeah. Oh, actually, well, yeah, hang on now. He's on the wrong side of the fence. He come unstuck. He missed the pen entry. So he had to get a tow. Oh, it's not going well for Dylan Davies tonight. There's no doubt about that. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting, with thanks to Short Shift Sim Racing Magazine and all the great partners of the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series, and also the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. Don't forget, Tuesday night, we've got an Oriental flavoured week of motorsport getting underway for you for at least the supercars. The Super Series heads to Suzuka, and then the Super 2E Series heads there on Wednesday night as well. Fascinating start of the season last week with night racing in the instance of the Super 2 Series from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Now we'll wait and see what Suzuka provides. I'm looking forward to that. 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Tuesday.
That was some good racing there through last week with those boys.
Oh, it always is, Mark. They've thrown, they just keep raising the bar, and they've provided such great entertainment throughout the course of the season, and it just keeps getting better and more intense. And we're all leading, of course, to Bathurst on December 12 for the 1000, and we all know how much that means to them.
Yeah, definitely. I might have to talk to the league owner there and see if I can get a wild card entry.
I don't blame me, JP. I did suggest wildcards only a few weeks back just to try and bolster the numbers on the grid. So, but I hadn't said anything about that to Mark, and he's just taken that and run with it. So that's good. 74 laps into this race. So it's just in that processional type phase at the moment, just a case of rolling through the motions, going with the punches, Mark, because we've got to get to and I know that you're out there at the moment circling on lap 24, so you're 50 laps down, which means that when you get to 117, these guys should be theoretically around 167, 168. But it's a case of rolling through the punches pretty much until that last pit stop and then having a proper crack.
Yeah, definitely. Look, so long as you can stay on that, or don't go any more than 2 laps down, you should be able to get your lap back. I think there'll probably be 2 or 3 more cautions. Not that that's a bad thing. It'll bunch the field up again. Like you can see, there's 2 groups formed now. So yeah, you just got to get that ticket to that last section of the race.
Indeed. Hope you're enjoying it. We were cranking up the volume a short while ago. We'll get back to that shortly, because we had to interrupt it to take you through the second caution of the night. Here's Aidan Schultz having a crack up around the outside. Oh boy, this is for third in the motor race right now. And exactly what Mark said about the bottom line warming to the party, and and starting to offer something. It certainly is now for the guys, particularly first, second, and third. And here's Schultz all over the back of Dyson. He's going hard and fast tonight, is Aiden Schultz.
There's some grip down there on that apron when they forced me down there.
So here we go, Aiden Schultz. We're riding on board with him now. Just continue to watch Aiden at work here, folks. Let's wait and see whether he can throw the dummy here, throw the sucker, and try and find a way past Dyson, who's not making it easy. And, of course, this is such a narrow racetrack as well, so 2 wide at best is all you're going to be able to achieve. You wouldn't want to be trying 3 wide through here. We've already seen an example of that and why it doesn't work tonight. So we've just gone past third race distance, of course, 2:33. So you're taking, it's about 78 is the third way mark. So we've passed that. Remember, there is also the option of, or the potential for green-white checker racing here as well tonight, should we get a caution in the last couple of laps. Lap 85, leaders making their way past Darren McKenzie. McKenzie goes a lap down in 10th place. So the top 9 remain on the lead lap. McKenzie's the first lap down in 10th. Nankerbus, Ariel, Farrell, Davies, and of course Johansen. Rounding out the running order at the moment. Pete Matson out of the race. 15 cars still in the field, still circulating at the moment. Watching the leaders here. And Douglas. So near yet so far on a couple of occasions this season. He's been there. And he's really warming to the party tonight. End of the challenge as well. Foster will do all he can to keep him at bay. But eventually, it may be in his interest to let Douglas do the heavy lifting for a little while here. And have a look at this. Down on the inside, right on cue. Douglas there. Down on the inside of Foster. To the lead. Thank you very much. Let's go. Douglas leads in Tennessee. How good's this? Now, speaking of Tennessee, Nashville's on next week's agenda. The Nashville Super Speedway. That, of course, returned to the Cup Car Series this year in the real world. Let's wait and see what it delivers in the sim world next Saturday night from 7:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time.
I think it might be some fingernail biting and dash clawing racing next week.
Well, it is the second leg of the Triple Crown, isn't it?
That's right. Double points are on offer for the Triple Crown and for the championship. So
plenty to play for over the next 3 Saturday nights. We are on to lap 91 and we are just going past 8 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So the guys have only been racing about half an hour. And now this is interesting. Well picked up from JP as well. Douglas has managed to gap the field. He's managed to put some distance between himself and Foster. He's just hit the accelerator, JP, and said, let's go. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, look, I noticed before at the on the restart, Douglas seemed to pull up and let Foster go ahead of him, and then when they were coming up on those lap cars, Douglas decided to pull the pin and then get going, and he managed to put a couple of cars between himself and Foster. So I don't know, maybe a little bit of gamesmanship going on there.
I think it is, JP. We know Ed can look after his tyres on the longer run, so maybe it might be just go burn your tyres off, and I'll close up again in the later stage of the section.
All right, let's continue on here. Douglas Foster, Dyson, Hunter, Schultz, Jackson. That's the top 6 at the moment for you. Now, this is the most spread out we've seen the field tonight. And I know that seems weird because of how tightly bunched these cars are. This is Schultz, Jackson, and Drady, with Jackson and Drady right behind Schultz at the moment. And Hunter in 4th place. So this is, I believe this is lap traffic that Schultz is trying to navigate his way by now. And Darren McKenzie's in the lane for the second time. So McKenzie has jumped early. Oh, no, the championship leader with some small damage on the right side guard there. How will that compromise the rest of his night? How will that impact him as we complete lap 100? So only 16 laps off halfway here. Douglas, Foster, Dyson, Hunter and Schultz. Now's as good a time as any to retry what we're trying to do there early. Let's crank up the volume and ride on board and see these guys hard at work doing their thing. Nothing like a little bit of sounds of the game for you, ladies and gentlemen. Game being the operative word, because I know people who say, oh, it's not a game, it's a sim. But it is the sounds of Cup Car racing hard at work there for you on a Saturday night. 110 laps in the book now. Dave Douglas leads, Ed Foster, then Andrew Dyson, Matt Hunter and Paul Drady, the top five. Paul Jackson, Stephen Williams and Aidan Schultz are the last of the leading runners at the moment. The last on the lead lap is Schultz in 8th. We've got the top 11 have only stopped once. Everybody else has been in pit lane more times than that, with the exception of Mark Johansson, of course, who's still trying to get through to that first pit stop in terms of scheduled pit stops, because he's had that unscheduled one for about 40 laps there a little while ago. In fact, 54 laps down is Mark Johansson at the moment in 15th place. But he's got by Matson, he's got by McClintock. Everybody else ahead of him still running. So it's a case of get to 117, get classified as a finisher, and then probably park it for the night for our mate and enjoy the rest of the spectacle. Lap 113 here. Douglas, Foster, Dyson, Hunter and Drady. It's been interesting to watch this. That second battle ebbing and flowing. Foster just sitting 0.5 of a second behind Douglas at the moment, and they're doing a nice job out in front. And they've put some distance between themselves and the rest of the field as well. About 2 seconds back to Dyson, who's got a gap over Hunter, who's got a gap over Drady. Drady's under a little bit of pressure from Williams, so that's about the last battle that you'll see on the track at the moment. There's simply nothing going out there in terms of a positional battle at this point in time. Even what you're seeing here is not a positional battle, ladies and gentlemen. You're riding on board with the green machine. This is Stephen Williams, 6th place. On the league lap, one of 8 on the league lap. One of 7 on the league lap, because Aidan Schultz has just gone a lap down as well. But looking at the numbers here, JP, I'll bring you back in at this point in time. we're 61 laps into the stint, so the tyres will be pretty shot, I would think. I would suggest.
Yeah, they're going to be looking forward to their next pit stop. But this is where the gamble comes in. They're going to want to extend their run as much as they can, hope for a caution period, and then dive into the pits, because if that doesn't happen and they go a lap down, they're going to be really wondering what's going to happen for the rest of the night if there is another caution period.
Well, that's exactly right. Mark Johansson, bring you in at this point in time. We said that fuel is not an issue tonight, so it's a case of when these guys come in. In fact, to be fair, at that 57 lap marker, most of them would have been able to fuel up and get home. In terms of the fuel mileage, but in terms of the tyres, now it's a gamble of how long you want to run around on shot rubber for, considering that now that you're on that second set of tyres, you've only got another 2 fresh patches up your sleeve.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, I've just done 58 on this, and they're starting to really slide around on me, and I'm not even pushing overly hard. So some of these guys will be starting to feel the tyres.
It comes to a point where there's no need to push too terribly hard when you are as far down the order as you are. So we'll follow that with interest. You've got another 50 laps in you, mate. 50 laps to get to the checkered flag as far as that points classification is concerned. Everybody else is 110 away from the flag, make it 109. As Douglas crosses the start-finish line. Foster in behind. You're watching Andrew Dyson at the moment. Aidan Schultz in the pit lane right now. So Schultz is in. He's the first to blink. And given that he's going to be the better part of 2.5, maybe 3 laps down here by the time Douglas gets around. Schultz is moving. Schultz is on his way. Douglas goes by. So 3 laps between Schultz and Douglas, but remembering Douglas will have to stop again, as will Foster, Dyson, Hunter, and also Drady, Williams, Jackson, and Wellman. And then Curvis is out of sync as well to Schultz, who's now behind Darren McKenzie, who has stopped twice. But again, McKenzie's, we believe, that second time round was Ford damage.
Don't be surprised if you see Ed to try and run very, very long on this set of tyres either.
And that's the other thing too, because whilst you were saying there that somewhere between 50 and 68 was the range that the guys were getting last night, it's interesting that they're willing to go a little bit longer on them in race trim, mate. Yeah,
definitely. Like the fuel load, fuel burn will be coming down like so the cars will be getting lighter. So even though it's on worn rubber, you'd still be able to get a half decent lap in.
And just for reference sake, ladies and gentlemen, we mentioned earlier 14.7 is the benchmark from Ed Foster early in that second stint after the first pit stop was completed. Now they're clocking about a second slower than that. Now, a second's not much, but it is on this track. However, when everybody else is in the same suit and in the same boat, no harm, no foul. That said, Stephen Williams all over the back of Paul Drady like a rash at the moment. So Stephen Williams in the 98 all over the back of the 1-2-9-4 position here. Nice and tight. Quarter of a second separates 5th and 6th. This is a potential overtaking opportunity that we might see here. It would be big for Stephen Williams to be able to get that leg up on Drady at this point. We're past halfway. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in. Well, most of them are past halfway. We know Johansson's still catching up after that early incident with Pete Matson. And to be fair, I'm just a little bit surprised at how patient everyone's been tonight, Mark. Yes, we've seen a couple of scrapes of the wall, and that's, seen a couple of incidents unfold. That's racing. But, you know, it's not uncommon for the real world thing to have something in the vicinity, somewhere in the vicinity, something like 15 cautions around a place like this. So for these guys to get to lap 137 and have only had 2, that's not bad fishing.
No, I think it's great. If we had a few more cars running, may have been a different story. But these guys have really been patient. The race radio's only lit up once or twice over a few little things, but everyone's been reasonably clean. No, not even any much rubbing.
Indeed. So up 140. And still Williams all over the back of Drady at the moment. We'll keep our eyes on that. Also Aiden Schultz making inroads on Darren McKenzie there. That's for 9th place in the race. That's an outright positional fight at the moment. As Schultz looks all over the back of McKenzie and then down the inside, Schultz to 9th. Now, the question is, can he get to Dave Douglas and unlap himself? The answer is no, because Douglas has got 2 laps on him at the moment. Adam Ariel in the pit lane at the moment. The benefit of the fresh tyres paying off for Aiden Schultz at the moment, but it's a case of how long will he be able to make them last for? How long will he be able to enjoy this advantage that he's currently got? And I know that Schultz, given that he stopped on lap 123, he's 1 stop from home. He'll come in, grab some fresh rubber around lap 180 and then make his way home. He might, he can 1 stop it from there, 255 lap stints. So from a mathematical equation standpoint, pressure's off. But from a tactical standpoint, he's got a way up coming in before or after a potential caution. You'd hate to come in, lose all that track time, and then not gain it back because there's a caution called just after you completed your pit stop.
Paul Drady's gone into the pits.
Good observation from Mark Johansson. Drady in from 6th position. So that releases Stephen Williams and Paul Jackson. And it won't be too long, mate, before Dave Douglas and Ed Foster follow suit, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, like I'm up to lap 80 now on this set of tyres, and they've just levelled out a little bit. So, you know, Ed and Dave may try that longer stint.
A 149. Lap 149 of 2:33. We've not been racing for an hour yet, ladies and gentlemen. We're past halfway. I told you it'd be a quickie tonight. I meant it in every sense of the word. Down to turn 1. Dave Douglas. Down on the inside of lap traffic. He leads by half a second. Foster is 2nd. Dyson is 3rd. Hunter is 4th. Williams is 5th. They are the only cars still on the lead lap here.
Yeah, so this is all going to come down to tactics here. What do these guys do if they go long, and then pit in for a set of tyres, and maybe look for a caution period late in the race? We know traditionally that there has been caution periods, you know, with a handful of laps to go. Dive in the pits, get on the fresh tyres, and then blitz everyone else coming out.
And again, that comes down to a couple of things. Do you take the gamble and pit under green, or do you try and wait it out and wait for a potential caution? Although that being said, if you're a lap down, 2 laps down even right now, you got nothing to lose. You got to throw a caution to the wind, because it's not going to be easy to make any of those laps back, regardless of where you come in for that last stop.
Yeah,
some guys that are well and truly out of contention already, JP.
Yeah, 100%. And look, Foster and Douglas are sitting fairly pretty at the moment. They're still lapping in the 15s, although the high 15 seconds. Douglas has just dipped into the 16s there on his last lap. But the guys who have gone on to fresh rubber, Paul Drady, okay, his last lap was a 14.97. but they're still sort of lapping in the 15-second mark, so they're not making the kind of inroads that you'd expect on them. So they might try to sit out there as long as they possibly can, hope for a caution period, and if it doesn't happen, dive in at the last possible moment.
Douglas, Foster, Dyson, Hunter, and Williams. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Jackson, Wellman, Schultz, Drady, and McKenzie making up the top 10 at the moment. Jared Farrell just coming into pit lane right now as well. Don't worry about the clock on screen there, folks. We're going to get this in well and truly before the 3 hours, 9 minutes elapses. As far as Saturday Night Motorsport is concerned on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting.
Williams and Farrell in.
1:59. So Williams in the lane. We knew Farrell was already in, but Williams has joined him on pit road.
Now, I also think we're seeing Foster here start to use that ability of his to make his tyres last. He's been able to reel in Dave Douglas. He's just going to sit on the back of Dave there, maybe wait till he makes a little mistake and then make the move for the lead.
There's nothing to be gained from passing at this point in time, is there, to be fair?
No, really. And look, sitting behind your opposition at this time is probably the best thing that you can do, because you can actually see what he's doing. You can gauge him. Looks like Foster's going to go in.
Yeah, it is.
He's pulled the trigger.
They go. Douglas, Foster, both in. Dyson in as well. Now,
Great situational awareness there by Douglas, because it looked like he wasn't going to go in. He realised Foster was going to dive into the pits, and he just made that last minute dive into the pits there.
Yeah, you're right. You've got to be aware of your surroundings, and he certainly was on that occasion. What's interesting for mine, when I look at the numbers here, JP, 57 was when everyone came in. If they topped up the tank then, they get home, because it's 177.6 that the fuel tank can take. So there would have been no need to take fuel then if they're good to go to the checkered flag. It would have been a case of tyres, and look how beautifully that's worked out for Douglas. Foster's been boxed in behind Wellman. Where did he come from? Wellman's right up there now. And Wellman is still, can you believe this? Wellman is still on that that second set of tyres. He stopped once. It was lap 58. So these guys went for the better part of 103, 104 laps. Wellman is still going on with it at the moment. He's just been passed by Dyson. Drady is 5th. Schultz is now up to 6th. Now all of a sudden we've got 8 back on the lead lap. Williams will go a lap down momentarily. He's the closest to being lapped in the pack at this point in time. McKenzie is still a lap and a half down on Douglas. But now McKenzie really needs a caution to try and get his wave around and get his lap back here. Otherwise, it could be curtains as far as outright race contention is concerned for our mate Darren McKenzie, the championship leader.
Yeah, this is probably the worst we've seen him so far, although he's still in the top 10.
But he certainly is. Lap 168. Mark Johansen in pit lane now at the end of lap 110. So you nearly got there, Mark.
Yeah, definitely nearly got there.
So what's the plan of attack now, mate? 7 laps and park it?
Oh, we'll see how we go. I wasn't getting in the road there in that last stint.
Always nice to walk into this commentary box with the plan of attack, but so often that plan gets thrown out the window, especially when it comes to Weekend Warrior Cup car racing. Don't worry about that. Lap 170. Douglas over Foster by half a second. There's the margin on your screen. Doesn't look like much because it isn't. It's a lot in terms of this track when you consider it's only a 15-second lap.
Now this is interesting. Now, is Foster trying to hunt down Douglas? Is Douglas sort of laying off and trying to conserve his tyres a little bit?
Just having a look here too, JP. 8 cars on the lead lap now that second round of pit stops has unfolded. Wellman the only one who have not stopped a second time in that leading pack.
Yeah, he's playing that long game, waiting for a caution period, but really doesn't look like it's going to happen for him.
We shall wait and see.
Quick, someone run out, put some oil on the track.
Schultz up on the outside. No. So Williams has got by Schultz on the inside, I should say, and he's got Wellman on the inside as well. Williams is all of a sudden ploughing through the pack, charging through, barnstorming run. Just passing competitors as though they're standing still. It's a superb performance from Douglas and Foster at the front of the field, but if we were to get a safety car or caution period somewhere in the vicinity of 20 laps to go, all bets are off, as everyone will be back in contention to a point. As far as those on the lead lap is concerned.
Yeah, 100%. And traditionally, with the last 20 to 30 laps to go, they start to turn the wick up. They start to take more chances, and these are the times when the caution periods start to come out, and cautions breed cautions.
Indeed, they do. So 179 in the book. We're on to lap 180. Here is Schultz all over the back of Wellman at the moment. So you can tell that Wellman's now starting to have trouble with his tyres. And rightly so. He's been on them for 121 laps. Schultz is all over the back of him. Schultz is also under pressure there from Jamie Nankerbus, I think that is, who's also a couple of laps down and out of contention. So, I mean, oh, geez, if you were Schultz, you really wouldn't want Nankerbus to get involved in this rubbish. You'd want him to stay well clear, because you don't want your potential race being brought unstuck by lap traffic. And Schultz at the moment has every right to fight as hard as he is, because he's on the lead lap. And look at this. The 041 of Dyson is coming through. The 041 of Dyson comes through to sort them out. So all of a sudden, forget what I say about Schultz being on the lead lap. He's now a lap and a half down. He was still showing his white on our timing loop there until about 13 seconds ago.
Now, this is really interesting, Zach, because
yeah, mate.
Aiden Schultz came in for his last stop on lap 123. Jamie Nankerbus came in on 159, so he's got the much fresher tyres. He's hunting down Aiden Schultz, and Aiden Schultz is just making his car as wide as he possibly can to keep Jamie Nankerbus behind him.
And that is a task easier said than done sometimes. You're right on board with Schultz. Wellman ahead. And to be fair, Schultz needs to find a way past Wellman. Not going to be able to. There goes Darren McKenzie, unlapping himself on those guys at the very least. But McKenzie, 5 laps down on the pack tonight. The leaders, or 4.5, I should say. 4.5 laps down on the leaders.
And that's the thing, Zach. I mean, you have an incident, you have a moment on a track like this, and it's not difficult at all to go a handful of laps down.
Not at all. Easier said than done. And
have a look at this.
Oh, jeez. That was tight. It's easier said than done staying on the lead lap around here. But it's even easier to find yourself in some sort of trouble. Wow. What a moment. That was Paul Drady weaving his way through, wasn't it? Just putting a lap on the guys there and taking no prisoners in the process.
Absolutely.
Matt Hunter's gone with him.
Matt Hunter going with him once again. Matt Hunter quietly just making his way through traffic and getting into the top 5. Actually looks like it's going to be top 4.
Look at that. Right up around the outside. Oh, he scraped the wall. Hunter has scraped the wall. And that, I tell you what,
it was actually
a pivotal moment here, and that's a big up for Andrew Dyson in that respect, because these guys were starting to charge hard, and all of a sudden,
It was actually Paul Drady that hit the wall there, Zach.
Oh, well, yeah, it was too. You're right. My apologies. So Drady scraped the wall, and that's actually a free leg up for Hunter, who's been able to at least cement himself in 4th place there. So Drady in 5th, and Williams now lurking in the distance in 6th, all over the back of Drady. So advantage Hunter, who's cleared out. Interesting to see if Drady's carrying any damage, though, JP.
He's carrying a little bit of damage there on the right-hand side.
And that could be enough to just make it difficult for him for the rest of the night. What's also interesting here too, guys, is we are less than 40 laps to go. Whoa, jeez, Brady almost got chopped across on by the race leader.
He's not messing around. He's trying to put as many cars as he can between himself and Foster.
With a view to, if there's a caution, I've got some breathing space. Exactly. This is superb to watch. We've been racing for, I think, about an hour now. We knew it wouldn't be as simple as just getting through in an hour. We knew pit stops and cautions would play a part. But we are so close to the checkered flag, it's not even funny in the context of this race. We have 35 laps to go. Make it 34 as they cross the line. And Douglas leads from from Foster. That's the second time I've said that tonight. Apologies to Edward. Foster, Dyson, Hunter, Williams, and Drady, the top 6 here. And Paul Jackson is the first to lap down at the moment.
Here we go.
Gary
Wellman's
in the lane, and in the lane after a run of about 140 laps, he finally comes in for a new set of heels. .201 of 233, make it 202.
Now have a look
Douglas
at this.
From Foster, and Foster is lurking right there. 2 car lengths the margin. This is going to be a cracking finish one way or another. Now, the fact of the matter is, JP, I think these guys will be trying to stretch this to the checkered flag unless we get a caution, in which case a free pass, a free opportunity to come in and throw a set of boots at it.
100%. These guys are going to go all the way. Like you said, if there's a caution, expect them to jump into the pits.
I expect Edward would just really sit there on his tail now until about 20 laps to go, and then make the move, I'd say.
Yeah, he's going to push Douglas. He's going to make him use his tyres up, and then when he sees his time, and you can see as Douglas is exiting those corners, the back of his car starts to wag the tail there.
I wasn't sure whether that was my eyes.
Have a look at this. There we go. Foster down the inside. Douglas hanging tough. But Foster goes down the inside to the lead for the moment. Douglas has him back by the strike, by the narrowest of margins. Side by side with 28 to go, 27 to go as they head up the back stretch. And there was a little bit of a touch there, a little bit of hip and shoulder. Foster and Douglas. Will they do this for 26 laps? I only hope they can hold this together and keep this up, because this is awesome.
Hey,
Dropping
Zach,
into the pit lane. Mark.
that wasn't touching. That was just rubber, mate, and rubbing's racing.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. 100%. It was only a matter of time before that quote was run in this broadcast. 25 to go. And if these two intend to race like this for the whole duration of the next 6.25 minutes, because that's all it'll take to get through 25 around here, then we're in for something special to get us to the checkered flag.
Foster's got him.
Is there a string in the tail? Is there a caution coming? We'll wait and see. Now, it's also interesting to note that only 3 drivers remain on the lead lap. Foster, Douglas, Hunter. Everyone else at least a lap down. And at this point in time, that would mean out of business as far as achieving a podium or the race win is concerned. At this point in time, oh geez, that was unlucky for Hunter, for Douglas rather.
Looks like Adam Mario's coming into trouble.
Lap traffic. And we've got some trouble here. We've got a caution. We've got a caution out of Ariel. Has clouded the wall again. We've got a caution. We've got a late race caution. We've got exactly what we thought we would. This is Ariel. Oh, no. He got served up. He got absolutely poleaxed. And I'm not sure by who. Wellman's in. Foster and Douglas are in. Now the mind games start. Mark Johansson, just quickly jumping in with you here. 5 minutes you've been in pit lane. What happened?
Oh, just parked it, mate. I knew. Yeah, I knew that bottom line was starting to come in. I could feel it rubbing her up. So I wanted to give the boys a clear run that last section of the race, so they can use both lanes. I don't want to be a mobile chicane out there.
Oh, have a look at that.
That is so tight.
Now Douglas
That's huge.
Douglas actually got off the jacks earlier than Foster, but he just lit up the rears and went nowhere.
Now, in all of that, Matt Hunter leads the way here, boys, and Hunter hasn't come to pit lane yet. Now he does. So now the order will sort itself out. Hunter, Foster, Williams will become Foster, Douglas, Hunter, the rest. Oh, boy.
What
2:15 of 2:33 and plenty to play for now.
What Edward's got to be careful here, well, both Edward and who's in second? Sorry,
Douglas, of course.
Douglas. Yeah, what they have to be careful of is with the guys diving into the pits late, not to pass them. Otherwise, they'll end up with a black flag and end up getting the drive through. So before they get to that commitment cone.
Very good point. Something you've got to be mindful of on these short tracks. So, who's your money on now, boys, at this point? 17 laps to go. Next time by the line, we're 2:16 of 2:33. Is it going to be Foster or Douglas, or can Hunter get up there and spring a surprise? Let's not forget about Williams either, because he's also in the mix.
That's what I was just about to say. I just pulled up the standings, and they count out Mr. Williams. He come from well, I think it was 9th place in the Memorial Cup. Yeah, okay, I know it was a different track, but you can't count him out either.
JP, what about your thoughts, mate?
Mate, you know that both Foster and Douglas are going to leave nothing at all on the table. Williams, he's fast, so look for him to be making the early move on Hunter and try to stick with these two guys.
All right, let's wait and see how this will play out.
So Zach, we still didn't get a commitment out of him.
No, correct. Well observed.
I'll stick with my original. I say Foster to take the win.
All right. We'll see how close you are in the next short while. We'll get an idea of what's going on here in the next 6 minutes or so. Back to green we go, and that was a beautiful restart from Foster. Douglas went with him. They've gapped Hunter and Williams importantly. Not going to be easy for Williams from that far back. Grady, Dyson, Jackson, Schultz, the top 8. Schultz doing a nice job to maintain a top 10 position after starting in position number 13. Adam Ariel in pit lane again.
If you have
Farwell's been there for about 10 3/4 minutes, and of course Johansson's out of the race as we know. So at best, we're going to have 15 classified tonight, but how many take the checkered flag will be interesting to see. Fastest lap for Douglas, 14.69. Fastest lap of the night for the guy chasing. Dave Douglas, second place at the moment.
If you have a look, Zach, Edwards changed his racing line. He's diving down from high and using that low line through the middle of the corner and Dave's following him. So it's going to be on here in a minute.
Certainly is. We wait and see who blinks first.
Oh,
Oh, Douglas! Just barely hung on to it then. I think he might have clipped the wall and it unsettled him. So
Yeah, definitely
Douglas has
clipped the
had
wall.
the first moment of the night, and that could be curtains. That could be all that Foster needs to get the job done here. Oh, nerves of steel.
he definitely touched the wall coming out of 4 there. Back.
It looked like it. Oh, jeez. Heart in your mouth sort of stuff.
It was
He's
a
not
great
giving
run,
up, though. He's not giving up, though. He's going to throw everything at this and then more. 0.2 the margin. It's right there. Foster hanging low. Douglas going high. Hunter and Williams out of the picture at the moment. They're too far back. 8 to go. From the aerial shot. Across the line. And I think Foster might just be able to get this done now. Mark, it's looking like it's going to be a struggle for Douglas with that little bit of damage he's sustained.
Yeah, definitely. Dave tried to get up high there in that high line and run the wall and get the extra speed down the track coming onto the straights. But it's closed a little bit, so it could be still on.
Wait and see if he's going to throw anything at it in the last 4 laps. Across the line. They'll go next time by, and it'll be 4 laps to go. Through 3 and 4, onto the main straight. Douglas right there, 1/4 of a second the margin. It'll be the hardest 1/4 of a second he reels in this year if he can do it and do it successfully. But it'll be the sweetest at the same time if he does that. 3 to go. Foster, Douglas, Hunter, Williams. They're the 4. Dyson's under pressure from Drady in the battle for 5th, but they're a lap down. Schultz is trying to go with Jackson, but I think he's lost enough time there in the end that it'll be Jackson's to lose that 7th position at the moment. 2 to go. A lap and a half. Edward Foster might have just done enough here in Bristol. So round 32 or 35, and the short circuit, the short oval of Bristol Motor Speedway has delivered a classic at the front, but in the end, as Douglas throws it into the wall almost on the last lap, Foster gets the job done, and Douglas does pin it. And does so crossing the line. Foster wins from pole.
Good race, guys. Top 3 to the green room, please. Top 3 to the green room. And everyone drive
Douglas,
around back into the
Hunter,
pits.
Williams, Dyson, Drady, and
Well done, Edward.
Jackson, the top 7. Schultz, McKenzie, and Nankerbus made up the top 10. And in the end, Foster was too good from pole position. Let's listen to this as he lights it up in celebration.
I'll tell you what, Zach, why he's doing that burnout. He hasn't done a lot of races with this, but he's at, I think it's 3 seconds and then 2 wins now. So
Drivers with us standing by here. Just listen to this though, folks. This is awesome. It might be a little cauldron. It might be a little bull ring, but there's plenty of room for a donut, as Edward Foster is showcasing here.
So, okay, so what's he going to do? He's going to blow his motor first or blow tyres?
Either or, but he's going to let this celebration last a little while, I think, and that's fine by us, because that was a short, sharp race. It was only about an hour and, 5-6 minutes or something like that. Awesome performance from Edward Foster. We've got him here standing by. We've got Dave Douglas and Matt Hunter as well. We'll hear from those guys in just a moment. Let's have a look at the results here if we can. After 233 laps of racing, Foster wins. So in the end, the split was 4-4 and 2, which is a good football formation if you play FIFA. 4 Chevys, 4 Toyota, 2 Fords. Foster, Douglas, Hunter and Williams, the top 4. in the end, the top two 2 seconds clear of third and fourth. 0.3 the winning margin as Douglas crashed and burned on the very run to the checkered flag there. A lap down was Dyson and Drady, 2 laps down Jackson and Schultz. 3 laps down Mackenzie, the championship leader. He maintains the championship leader irrespective of that, and then Nankerbus was 10th. Over the page. Davies was 11th, 12th was Ariel, 13th was Wellman, 14th was Farrell, 15th Johansen, all classified because they got past that 50% marker. And the non-classified finishers, Pete Matson and Scott McClintock, rounded out the field tonight. Small field, small track. Short race, but it all delivered the goods. And Edward Foster, it just goes to show that sometimes in this stock car caper, qualifying is important because you've converted pole into the race win, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. Not sure how much I had to do with qualifying. Of course, it always helps to start up front, but especially as you've got, as you would have seen tonight, 2 lines around here that work pretty well. Overtaking is definitely possible. So glad to have a bit of back and forth there with Dave, and a good race that lasted pretty much the entire distance between the two of us. And yeah, cool to come away in front, but yeah, could have easily been the other way around. It's just one of those nights.
Interesting, isn't it? Because we've been assessing the situation throughout the course of the evening. It's so easy to drop a lap here. It's so easy to put a wheel wrong and end up in the wall. And unfortunately, Dave found that out in the closing laps. And it's also so important to qualify up the front because it's not the easiest circuit to overtake on unless you've got that fresh set of rubber and everyone else around you doesn't.
I don't know. I disagree. We were running and overtaking cars with our old tyres on, and as I say, there are 2 lines on the track, so this is a good track for side-by-side racing, as you would have seen. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's an overly difficult track to pass on.
Well, this is true. I mean, to be fair, we had 17 tonight. Normally there's 40 out there in a real-world scenario as well. So, mate, just quickly through all of that, what about the battle with you and Dave? It was brewing all night long. It ignited there in the final stint. Once you got that last caution, in the end, you were able to get the better of him, but by the narrowest of margin.
Yeah, I mean, Dave and I have known each other for a long, long time. You know, we've been racing each other for around about 5 years, just about week in, week out. We used to be teammates. You know, we know each other very, very well, driving styles and everything. So, yeah, in terms of like the actual battle, yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot easier when you've been racing the guy a long time. You know how he drives, you know that he's not going to run you in the wall, you know he's not going to make any silly mistakes or anything like that, and you can trust him to run side by side with you, you know, as long as it takes to sort it out between the two of you. So yeah, in terms of someone to race with up the front of the field, you couldn't really ask for someone better.
Well, let's bring him in now. On that note, Dave Douglas, let's start with the obvious. Well done, 4th to 2nd. It could have been the win, but am I right in assuming that little scrape of the wall, maybe 10 laps from home, is what brought you undone?
Nah, the scraping the walls is fine around here. It was honestly, I got held up really bad in that long stint just before the caution where I lost the lead. The 98 was battling me, and I was trying to put him down a lap, but he wanted to race on the outside, so that wasn't too pleasing to myself. So anyway, that ended up costing me too much rubber trying to get past him, and then once Edward got to me, let him by. So when you have it easy like that, they can catch up. But as for the battle with Ed towards the end there, it was all even Steven, so I gave it everything I had. As you can see, there was plenty going on, plenty of sideways action, but yeah, Edward did all he had to do.
Get a little bit dizzy going round and round and round that quickly?
Nah, mate. The more you get focused, mate, you get not so much going around, you get focused from staring at one spot the whole time, and your feet in the same spot for however many laps. You know, they don't change, and it's pretty much the same rhythm. Bang, bang, next lap, next lap, next lap, next corner, really, next corner, next corner, next corner. So, no, you don't really actually notice it.
I was going to say, just going back on Ed's point there, where he made mention about how easy you guys found it to weave your way through traffic, but it seemed to be pretty hard for anyone that had the sort of pace that you guys had. And let's be honest, there were 4 or 5 guys that had real good pace tonight, but strategy or getting lapped and not being able to get back on the lead lap was their downfall.
Yeah, well, as you see, we'll keep an eye on a couple of guys there. Dyson, he obviously pitted. and then the caution came out, so that sort of dudded him. But I just don't think they had the pace to go with Ed and I at the front there. I sort of kept a little low line up my sleeve because I knew it was pretty good for me last time I was out here in one of the other leagues. So I give Ed with the inside word there, and he started using it, and yeah, he done better than I did. So well, that's all right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mark Johansen suggested to us that it was going to take somewhere in the vicinity of probably 60 laps for that low line to start being effective. Did you find that?
Nah, for me, just because that was it, you probably, I don't know if you saw right from the beginning, right from the green flag, I was down the bottom. So I just ran the bottom the whole night, unless I had to go up top to overtake. But then, yeah, just ran the bottom. But yeah, you just got to try and look after them tyres because, as you can see, some of those guys come tearing up the field. I saw them in the mirror for 1 second and now gone.
It was interesting, actually, on the subject of tyres. You made them work for quite a long run in that second stint. After the caution around lap 54, 55, and you all pitted on lap 57, it was plus 100 laps before you guys got back to pit road again. And the suggestion was that it was going to be a tyre race, not a fuel race. That proved to be correct. Mark was saying to us that between 50 and 63 laps was a good run on tyres, but you guys just kept rolling with the punches, if you like. And that comes down to, well, everyone else is around you doing the same thing. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But as you say, looking after them, was that an easy thing to do, or did you find it a little bit difficult?
It's easy if you know what you're doing, which is
Well,
why I chose the bottom line, because I have a theory that I'll keep it to myself. But the last time I was out here, I did 145 laps on a set of tyres and was still passing guys after they pit and then went back, came out. So I made them last 2 whole stints. So yeah, it's how you run the car and where you sort of get on the gas. So there is an art to it, but just not running so fast like Edward. He was too quick out front tonight though.
Indeed, he was. Stay there with me, guys. I'll get your thank yous in just a moment. Mark Johansson, before I bring Matt Hunter in, anything that you want to add with these guys?
No, not really. It's just great racing by both of them. You know, it's a shame that they can't make the racing every week, because I think it'd take the level to the next stage. You know, good quality drivers breed good quality drivers.
Well, that's very true too. Matt Hunter, let's bring you into the mix here and have a chat, because at the end of the day, you and Stephen Williams used that last caution to get yourselves back on the lead lap, back into the swing of things. But unfortunately, you just weren't able to go with Foster and Douglas. But for you to get the better of Williams and secure third, are you happy?
Yeah, definitely happy with that. Yeah, it was good race. Pretty good racing. Tyres definitely were a factor for me. I think you might have seen in that long green run, I think it was at one point where I dropped from 4th down to about 11th or 12th, and then let those guys burn off their tyres and then just picked them off and got back up to 4th again. So yeah, but unfortunately I just didn't have enough at the end there just to go with those two. Set a lap car beside me that probably raced me a little bit too hard. I couldn't really sort of clear him in time to be able to get away with Dave and Ed.
It seemed to be a race of traffic. Either you were clear of it or you were stuck in it. And to be fair, when it's a track this small, that was always going to be a talking point. But it seemed to be that we saw a couple of drivers at various points during the race there become a sitting duck if they got out of the tow. It happened very quickly off the restart there on lap 57, and then again a little bit later on in the race. Did you find that if you zigged when everyone else zagged, you paid the price, or was it other factors, mate?
It was a couple of spots where I sort of got held up with traffic a little bit, but the it's all part of the track. It's all part of this kind of racing. You've got to expect to it, and I find it fun when when you're racing somebody and you're catching up to a lap car and you want to try and use that lap car as a pick and trap the other car behind them, and so you can get past. So it's all part of it. You got to be patient as well. There's points where you're like, oh, can I go 3 wide here? No, I better not. I better wait for that car to get clear before you decide to go.
Well, I was going to say, we both suggested that this isn't the sort of circuit where you'd like to run 3 wide.
No, when you hear your crew chief go, you're 3 wide, and you're on the inside, it's like, oh, just got to hug that line and hope the 2 other guys are good.
When it's on the, you mentioned about patience and that sort of stuff, but I get the feeling there might have been a little bit of urgency in tonight to a point because it was a little over an hour and 15 seconds a lap. Not a lot of time to make inroads. You're normally chipping away at something like that, 2-3 laps at a time because of the shortness of the lap.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably holding back a bit for most of the race, but after we did that green flag pit stop and I noticed that Dave was only about maybe 3-4 seconds behind me, I was giving it everything I had there because I wanted to delay for as long as possible before he wouldn't let me. And that worked out because we got the late caution and that I was able to stay on the lead up.
That late caution actually really worked into your favour, if anything.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I think I've no doubt. I think Dave and Edward would have caught me and put me a lap down at that point.
All right, Darren McKenzie remains the championship leader. I'm sure we'll have a look at the championship points before we get out of here tonight. Mark Johansson, I'll bring you in at this point in time, and then the boys can have a say on next week and do some thank yous for us here. Nice, short, sharp, sweet broadcast for you tonight, folks. Really zipping on by. Mark, next week, Nashville, different challenge to Bristol, but we remain in Tennessee. It's going to be fun. And double points on the line being leg 2 of the Triple Crown with only 3 weeks to go in the championship. It's do or die for some.
I want that trophy.
That definitely is. I've got a question for the boys. We've just done 230 odd laps. Next season, we come back here, of course. You can't have a season without a Bristol. Would you guys like to see this blown out to the full race distance on a Saturday night for Bristol?
I think the full race distance is a little bit much. I've done a 500 lapper here once before, and it wasn't overly enjoyable. So I think the length we had was probably pretty good, especially given the fact that it was a very, very clean race as well. Went by fast, but that's not always got to be the case. Quite often there's a lot of wrecks at Bristol, so
yeah.
I think if you run 500 laps, you've got a potential for a 5-hour race.
And if you get more people as well, you've got more likelihood of cautions, just due to the track, and you could be going for quite long. I think the length tonight was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good length. More importantly, though, Nashville next week, mate. I'm coming for that trophy. I want to get that trophy, mate. I've seen it.
I think you might have a fight there, Dave. There's a few people that are looking.
Yeah,
for that
I'm second at the moment, mate. I'm giving it on. Don't worry about
that. Before I go any further with you guys, Aidan Schultz has joined us in the booth, and when he unmutes his microphone, I'll ask him about his nights. Schultzy, nice to have you on board yet again. A case of what might have been. You had good pace. You had good track position there at one point of the race. I think we called you third, and you've brought it home in 8th. And in the end, you were 2 laps down, mate. Just talk us through your night.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I was in the green room waiting for someone. I'm here. So, I'm no good at Bristol. So, yeah, just Tyre Wear. About 40 laps I could last. And I think after we had that second caution, and only second caution, yeah, I think, then I coming, when we went green, I ran pretty well, and it went off the cliff, mate. And then I thought, oh, well, I got a pit, and my aim tonight was just to go through 0x, and I did that. So,
very nicely done. And it's not an easy thing around here. If you pit out a sequence and safety cars don't fall your way and whatever else, very easy to find yourself a couple of laps down.
Yeah, most definitely. I was never going to compete with the likes of Dave and Ed at the front around here. It was just one of those races where I just circulated, tried to keep out of their way when they come past, and see if I could get to the end. And yeah, we did.
All right, Schultzy, since you're here, lead us off around the room. Thoughts on Nashville next week, please?
It'd be a bit of fun. Can't remember the last time I went around there. Fairgrounds, another short track, so I believe it is.
Super Speedway.
The Nashville Super Speedway.
Yes, Nashville, yes.
Well, we did Talladega in another league the other night, and it's pretty much flip a coin when we go Super Speedway. So, Went all right the other night, so hopefully we'll go again.
It's more like a 1.5 though, isn't it?
It's a
Yeah,
1.3 mile.
Yeah, it's called a super speedway,
They
but
call it a
it's actually
super speedway.
1.3.
Well,
Yeah,
that's how much I've raced there, so probably no good.
it's a good track. It's a good track.
It
is a good track.
Very, very good track. The racing's going to be absolutely epic.
Yeah, I like it.
We raced there a couple of times already this year, and it was turned on every time. So that's I'll definitely be here for that because that's going to be brilliant.
I'm going to be trying to get in as well.
That's
Well,
exactly right.
we-
Mark
we-
Johansson?
Yeah, we've got 2 super speedways left. Oh, well, if you can call Nashville super speedway, we've
You
got no, yeah, that's true, Ed. We got Nashville, then Michigan, which will be another good one, and then the Simshed 500 at Daytona. So we've got 3 crackers of races left for the season now.
And looking forward to them immensely. I think I've been roped into all 3, particularly the 500, and looking forward to it immensely. Now, just quickly, we've got a bit of time to kill because the race ran so quickly. Every week we get a fast fact sheet sent through to us on the respective speedways. Didn't get a chance to run through that tonight because we didn't get as many cautions as we expected we might. Ground was broken in 1960. Here opened 1961 on Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the 4th largest sport venue in the USA and the 10th in the world, setting up to 153,000 people, and they were all in tonight. Don't worry about that. It's known by 2 names, Thunder Alley and the world's fastest half mile. 2 pit lanes, of course, one on the front straight, one on the back straight. Cars on the front straight must enter in turn 4 and exit on turn 1, and those on the back straight must enter through turn 2, exit turn 3. In 1961, would you believe this? The track hosted an NFL game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins. The game was won by the Eagles 17-10. In 2016, it also hosted an NCAA game between Virginia Tech and UT. It was dubbed the Battle of Bristol, which would surpass the NCAA record with 115,109 fans turning up for a single game. Fastest lap here held by Ryan Blaney, 14.528 seconds lap at 132.076 miles per hour, or 212.556 kilometers an hour. That was the 5th of the 4th, 2019. Just where were we tonight with regards to lap times? I think we saw a couple of you get very close to that marker in the 14s. They're certainly in qualifying, but as far as the race was concerned, 14.62 stands out as the fastest lap. Mine from Dave Douglas.
199.
Yeah, not badly done at all there. So I mean, very close to the 14.52. Darryl Waltrip has 12 wins here. Most poles, Mark Martin, 9. Most laps completed, Terry Labonte, 26,026. Wouldn't you get dizzy doing that, fair dinkum? Most miles completed, Terry Labonte also 13,871.67 miles, or 22,324.37 kilometres. And most wins by an active driver, Kyle Busch, with 8. So well done to everyone who puts those together each and every week. Of course, the track, it's a half miler. It provided us with a lot of entertainment tonight, and we're looking forward to seeing what might unfold here in the next 3 weeks of the season. Have we got championship points ready to go, JP? Let's have a look at them right now and remind everybody where we are with just a couple of weeks to go. Our race winner's left the room. I was going to let him do some thank yous in a minute, but that's okay. We'll get everyone else to throw in their 2 cents worth in a moment. Darren McKenzie, 983, plays Paul Jackson, 819. You heard exactly what Mark Johansson said there earlier in the evening, despite McKenzie finishing there in 9th. He's got one hand on the championship. He just needs to keep finishing, keep turning up, keep finishing, and the championship is his. It's been a superb performance from him throughout 32 rounds thus far. Paul Jackson, 819, 792 for Dylan Davies, 714 for Scott McClintock, 676 for Josh Carroll Walden. Of course, McClintock not finishing, Carroll Walden not starting tonight. Stephen Williams, 638, so a nice performance from him. Adam Ariel, Ruben Phelps, Barry Neal and Mark Johansson make up the top 10. So just by virtue of the fact that Johansson was classified tonight, he's moved himself into the top 10 over the page. 11th at the moment is where you'll find Tristan Kosh, who wasn't on the grid tonight. Jamie Nankerbus, 12th. David Duran, Mark Smith and Aidan Schultz making up the top 15. So even though Schultz spent half the season in the booth and is now on the track, he's found himself into the top 15. So just goes to show that turning up pays off.
I'll interrupt you too there just for a minute. So, our two rookies of the year is Jamie Nankerbus and Mark Smith. So Jamie looks like he may have one hand on that trophy.
Certainly does. But 3 weeks is a long time in Cup car racing. There's no doubt about that. We'll let those points keep rolling here. Dave Douglas, in the absence of Ed Foster, let us off with some thank yous, please.
Mate, yeah, just obviously thank you to Mark and his team at Weekend Warriors for putting on a league every week. It's a big job to run a league, and Mark's doing a great job and putting up some trophies and whatnot, and keeps them all interested. So I'm keen to, yeah, obviously run a second in the Super Speedway one, the Triple Crown. I want to get that trophy. So yeah, we'll see what we can do next week. But no one else really to thank. Obviously, actually, the Simshed Broadcasting for putting on a great show, and the commentators here tonight. JP doing a good job there. And actually, I just want to make a note that the top 3 were all actually in the green room. We're all former teammates. So it was actually a good little getting the band back together feeling with that, with Matty Hunter and Ed there. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well done, mate. Very nice performance from you this evening. Matt Hunter, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just I guess the same as Dave as well. Thank you to Weekend Warriors and Mark and all the good work you do here. Thanks to JP for the broadcast as well, and yourself for the commentary and all that sort of stuff as well. Yeah, you in the green room. Yeah, it was good to run a race with those guys again. It's been a couple of years, I think, since we've all been in a chat and in a race together. And just a shout out to the Vision Motorsport guys, John Sorensen and Ryan Takata McCarthy.
Well done, boys. Congratulations. Mark Johansson, some final thoughts from you and some thank yous?
Yeah, just a big thank you to yourself, Zach, for coming out and calling the race, to JP for all the work he puts in with me through the week. It's a never-ending workload, especially when we're both at work now again and flat out with work. I can tell you that next year bigger and better things are coming. And just thank you to everyone that turns out every week in races and when they can. And thanks to the rest of my admin team. They work flat out through the week also.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
And absolutely. No, well done, Mark Johansson. Thank you again. JP, from a Simshed broadcasting standpoint, there's always someone to thank.
Yeah, absolutely. Big thanks to SDK Gaming for these magnificent overlays. Track cams for gourmets for the camera angles that you see. Always coming up with some amazing shots for us. Devon Stove Design. Big shout out to those guys as well.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to pack up and say goodbye. Let's have a look ahead on the platforms of Simshed Broadcasting, because there's always something happening here across the course of the week. Tuesday night, there it is for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to remind you again. The clocks go forward in 4 states, 1 territory tomorrow morning, the civilized, progressive parts of the country. So, therefore, our broadcast times go with them. So, Tuesday night, 8:20 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The RSRA Super Series continues, of course, with the second round from Suzuka, Japan. Rehan Leonage, the guy to catch after an awesome, epic performance on Tuesday night just gone. And
Drove fantastically.
Oh, he certainly did. He schooled the competition. School being the operative word, because he's still in school. He's 11. It was just awesome to watch. You witnessed history if you're here on Tuesday night. Make sure you're here again next Tuesday night. Of course, all roads lead to that Goodyear Auto Keverana Bathurst 1000 on Sunday, December 12th. Now, just on the screen there, it says Thursday. Is that because iRacing's doing some maintenance on Wednesday? No, it is Wednesday this week. Copy that. Wednesday this week for the RSRA Super 2 E Series. Disregard Thursday. It is Wednesday. Wednesday, 8:20 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Matt Davis, Dean Reddit with the call there for the second tier, and looking forward to that. And then I'll be back with you next Saturday night as we go Weekend Warriors Cup car racing from Nashville. And whilst tonight was a little bit, processional in parts, we get that with our Cup car racing sometimes. It delivered some fireworks in the end, which was really good to see. A cracking scrap between Foster and Douglas as Foster claimed the win here on the high banks of the half miler. So that was good fun tonight. Hope you enjoyed it at home. Nashville Super Speedway awaits next Saturday And then we're just 2 weeks away from the Simshed Broadcasting 500 at the Daytona International Speedway. And we're looking forward to that immensely. So,
Just before we go, Zach,
Mark, final thoughts.
go South Sydney tomorrow, number 22.
Glory, glory.
I will let you have your moment in the spotlight there and your glory, mate. Let's hope it goes well for you tomorrow night. Of course, they're up against Penrith in the grand final. First time those two teams have met on the big stage. We wish both the best of luck. I'm very fortunate to be at the ground tomorrow night as a playing spectator for a change instead of commentator. So I'm looking forward to going along with some friends from Rugby League Ipswich here and having a night out. First and only time you'll probably ever see the grand final in these parts. First time Souths and Penrith have met on the grand stage. The Intrust Super Cup preliminary finals leading into it as well. It's a big day tomorrow at Suncorp Stadium. You can see it on the 9 network around Australia from 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time all the way through till about 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. So we wish both teams the best of luck. For mine, I think Penrith want redemption for missing out last year. South should always be a feel-good story, particularly with the Wayne Bennett factor as well. 4 for 119, the girls in the cricket. Go and watch the last hour of that. Day 3 at Metricon, that match slightly heading towards a draw at this stage, unless something drastic changes between now and 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Well done to all these drivers tonight. Small field, small track, but a fast race, a quick race. They delivered the goods. Some entertainment throughout the course of the evening. Only 2 cautions, so as I say, we didn't get a lot of the pack racing that you get when you get caution after caution around here, and that dragged things out a little bit. Only 4 cars finishing, I should say, on the lead lap. But in the end, it was Edward Foster getting the job done ahead of Douglas Hunter, Williams, and Andrew Dyson. Pole converts to the checkered flag. Can he do that again next week? We'll wait and see. Can anyone stop Darren McKenzie? Can he grab another win to just put the icing on the cake of the championship that he looks inevitably likely to claim in 3 weeks' time? On behalf of all the crew here from the Simshed Broadcasting Studios, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage on the platforms of Simshed Broadcasting across Facebook and YouTube of round 32 of the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Series for Short Shift Sim Racing Magazine. Until we see you next Saturday for the Cup Cars and Tuesday night for the Super Series, I'm Zach Caban bidding you a very good night.